So the aim of this video is to take you through the Shakespeare Sonnets dedication and two of the First Folio dedications to show how Sir Francis Bacon's name can be found in them. And the methods are actually quite simple. In doing so, I raise the question, if you can do this for your favourite single author candidate, and I can do it for Sir Francis Bacon, doesn't that mean that the practice isn't discriminatory enough? In other words, this name hunting can be done for more than one candidate. Isn't it just pseudoscience? On the left, we have the Nicholas Hilliard miniature of Francis Bacon, aged 18. There's a Latin inscription around it, which is not easy to read, but it says, Si tabula daritur signia animum, which roughly translates as if one could but paint his mind. This corresponds to the Folio dedication, which says, oh, could he but have drawn his wit. So there's a correspondence here of ideas of painting in mind and drawing his wit. Then there's the word figure, which one might assume refers to the Shakespeare image on the opposite page in the First Folio, but I suggest instead it refers to the comma following it, which I shall circle. So when it says this figure that thou here seest put, it actually means the comma. The comma is the figure. So I suggest this is a punctuation indicator puzzle in which the punctuation, which here the commas, point to words that we have to look at. So let us take the first letters of words that have got commas on them. Here's the list. And all we have to do is to rearrange the letters. Let's do that. And what we have is PP, which is Latin for per procuratium, which means on behalf of. So this reads Ben Jonson, because after all, he did sign his name, B.I. So Ben Jonson on behalf of Francis Bacon. This is the dedication at the front of Shakespeare's Sonnets from 1609. The words have points between them, which is why it looks like a puzzle. Also shown is the 21-letter alphabet that Julius Caesar used to send encoded messages to Cicero on the battlefield. For this, he used a Caesar cipher in which each letter in the encoded message was decoded by shifting it 3 places forwards in the alphabet. So if you received a message from Julius Caesar with the letter A in it, you'd have to move it 3 spaces forwards to a D to decode the message. Also note the word adventurer 3 lines up in the Sonnets dedication script, which means shareholder. And the most significant adventuring at the time the Sonnets was registered was with the Virginia colony. In fact, there was only 3 days difference between the date of the Second Virginia Charter, 23rd of May 1609, and the date Shakespeare's Sonnets was registered, 20th of May 1609. So our solution might have some connection to the Virginia colony. Now, the suggestion here is that the puzzle is in 3 parts. So the first part is the first 4 words actually taken at face value to the only begetter, which evidently means originator. The second part was suggested by Penn Leary, who was a trial lawyer who took the next 4 words, which are of these ensuing sonnets, and he added Mr. to it. Not a complete word, but he added it to it anyway. and he wrote down their last letters. Now, if you do that, this is what we get. If you take the word in the last line, fourth, as a shift indicator, and you shift each of the letters F, E, G, S, R 4 places backwards in the alphabet, then you get bacon. So F, E, G, S, R becomes bacon. So we now have to the only begetter, bacon. The third part of the puzzle, which Penn Leary didn't suggest, involves continuing to take the last letter of each word bounded by points or hyphens. So ever living here is taken to be 2 words. The last letter in that is R, last letter is G. Well wishing is taken to be 2 words, last letter L, last letter G. So if we continue after the word Mr. to take the last letters, we get a W and a H and an L and an E. And if we continue doing that, taking last letters, this is what we get. So finally, we take these letters as an invitation to insert vowels. So a good attempt at that would be this. Well, dated year, reg, and the word reg is short for registers. Leisure or leisure was an ambassador who was resident at the seat of government, and the seat of government of the Virginia colony was in London. So Sir Francis Bacon was a leisure knight because he had been knighted in 1603. His name was on the Second Virginia Charter with about 50 others. And he lived in London, where the main office for the Virginia Company was. So he was a knight living in the seat of government. So the full solution reads, to the only begetter Bacon, while dated year, which is 1609, registers the leisure knight. So now I'm going to move on to the final part, which is to the memory of William Shakespeare, signed I M at the bottom, which some have claimed to be the poet James Mabe, a fellow of Magdalen College, Oxford. This example is for those who delight in drawing geometrical figures in the First Folio in order to find a name. Here I'm going to show how Bacon's name appears, and the method is actually the same as that used for the sonnets. The last line says, this is a re-entrance to applaud it, which echoes Augustus Caesar, who, when on his deathbed, asked his friends to give him applaudit as he made his exit from the world. In the fourth line, we have the word fourth, the same word that appeared in the Sonnets dedication, and we're going to use it the same way. So I'm going to circle the F and the S and the R, these capitals, and I'm going to circle the E, and I'm going to circle the G, and I'm going to circle the S and the W. And when you do that, you discover you make a pleasant triangle here, which joins those letters up. And let's take a look at those letters, F, E, G, S, R, W, S, which I've put in this order. And you'll probably recognize F, E, G, S, R as the same letters in the Sonnets dedication. If you applied the fourth shift, that is, you moved each one of those letters backwards in the alphabet, what you get is bacon. We don't move the W and the S. So William Shakespeare, you could interpret as being the W and the S. So here we have 3 examples where I can find Bacon's name in Shakespeare dedications, where also the methods for the sonnets and this last example are consistent. Make of it what you will, but my only point here is to say, if you claim that the discovery or invention of the name of your favorite candidate means that he or she was the real Shakespeare, acting under a pseudonym, if that is the case, I say your discovery is not unique, because I can do this with Francis Bacon too. So my question is, doesn't this mean that this is all pseudoscience? Thank you for listening.